Yeah, so we can start for now. Okay, Javed, do you have any question? Javed, any questions? Okay, fine, no issues. So we will resume from where we had started yesterday, right? So from yesterday's point, what all we covered? Any queries till that?
No, sir, all clear.
Clear? Good,
Yes, sir.
good, fine. So we will start resume from there only. Okay. So basically, let's go to the report we had created initially only. Now, you see right now, this is the basic draft of a report, right? Like the basic version of a report. Like I just have all the columns added directly. Okay. If I go here and I do one thing, I remove these groupings which I had added, right? So what does this become now? This is what is called, so in reports, you basically have three broad types of reports. Okay. But it is not like you get options and select which report you want. Basically, how the data you are pulling, that is defined on what the kind of report you have. So this is the most basic report out there, right? Which is called the tabular report. Okay. So tabular reports are just simple as it goes with the definition of, it is just a table, nothing too fancy. Okay, nothing too, customizable, right? This is what is called a tabular report. Now, if you go with any kind of data you want to pull, the most basic version you can have is the tabular report, right? Now, what if I tell you that normally what comes as a use case, that when creating a report, what you do is you have to use some kind of grouping, how we did yesterday, right? So what was that? If I just had, say, some grouping here, department, I was doing the grouping via department, right? So what is this? As soon as you add, some kind of grouping or basically modify the report in some way, right? So this is what is called a what do you call this? The second type of report, which is called a summary report. What happens in a summary report is basically, if I let me modify another thing, let me add the sub department here, and I'll just save this report and run. Hold on. Going to here. Let me add directly. System some issue. Right. Save and run. So this here, if you see, is when I go to the individual grouping I have done, right? Say I have created one for sales, right? And then I get the data of the sales, only the sales specific. So subtotaling is a functionality which is now accessible to me, right? So this is what is called a summary report format. Whereas in summary report, you can do grouping data. This is called data aggregation. Like you're aggregating together similar data, right? By a pick list field you can do, by other values you can do, right? And then based on that, you can, have subtotal values, grand total values, right? You see here all these options, these become available as soon. If I go back and remove the column again, right? So let me just remove this from here and save. Now you see in the basic tabular report, I don't have that option at all of, where I can access the subtotals and grand totals and those things, right? Because that is not a functionality which is inherently a part of tabular format. Okay. Okay, someone is unmuted. Can you please mute yourself? Right. Thank you. Now, as soon as I add back a group, right? So I'm wrong. What happens is, you see, Now these options become available to me. I can remove this as per my row if I don't want, right? Maybe I don't want the subtotal. Maybe I don't even want the grand total. I just want this grouping. So these options I can modify. Okay, but these only become accessible once I change the format from basic table into a summary. Now, what is the third use case which we have available within the report? So that is basically what is called a matrix report, right? So if you guys have seen a matrix before, right? Basically, it is kind of, I'll just show you a table, right? An image I'll just share. Let me know if this is visible to you. This tab is visible to you,
Yes, sir. It's
right? Yeah.
Yes.
So basically, matrix is you can say a collection of data where it is maintained in a format, and that format obviously is where we have row and columns, right? And then a lot of things. There are mathematical operations which we can do in matrices, right? Like transpose, convert them into something, right? So, but the overall structure, this format is what is called a matrix. Now, with respect to report, what we have is sometimes you may not just want one type of grouping, right? Maybe you want some other kind of collection also to organize this. So I'll just show you as a UI. If I go here, what if in the column I add role, right? Now you see what has happened if I save this and run. Okay, so this part is my overall data. Okay, that is as it is. But as soon as I add a row and a column filtering of both, right? So what has happened? Roles, department and role, right? So department is presented as row, and then the role is presented as column. And then what I see is the sum of that data. Okay, let's go with the example below. For sales department and advisor. Okay, let's go in our data. What do we have? Who do we have in sales department? We have no one in uh, advisor role who is in sales department. Okay, so their salary sum is 0 and record count comes 0 because there is no record here which is an advisor and a sales. Okay, let's check for consultant and sales. So we have multiple consultant. Out of those, I see 2 are in sales, right? So then my record count for sales and consultant becomes 2. And the sum of salary is for 2 employees, the salary is 24. Okay. Recruiters inside sales, again the same thing. I have recruiters, but they are only available in HR. So recruiter for sales is 0. So this structure you see here, right? What has this become? This data has become a matrix where I have something which is grouping together the rows and something for grouping together the column. Okay, this is what is called in Salesforce as matrix report. अगर आप में से किसी ने एक्सेल पे काम किया होगा पहले, तो आप एक्सेल में जब आपके पास बहुत सारा डेटा होता है तो आप लोग पिवट टेबल बनाते हो. डू यू गाइस नो? डू एनी ऑफ यू नो?
No, sir.
yes, sir.
पिवट. ओके, सो बेसिकली व्हाट अ पिवट टेबल डज इज बेसिकली आपका जब बहुत सारा डेटा से आपको एक शॉर्ट समरी निकालना है, राइट? आपको ये पूरा डेटा ही नहीं चाहिए, आपको खाली समरी निकालना है. So that is the scenario where you have, let me disable this. You see, now it looks even more organized, right? So ये मेरा क्या है? दिस इज जस्ट एन ओवरव्यू. यहाँ पे आपको किसी एम्प्लॉय का डेटा नहीं दिख रहा है, राइट? कोई उनका हॉबी, ज्वाइनिंग डेट फिट कुछ नहीं दिख रहा है. आपको पूरे टेबल में से जस्ट एक ब्रीफ समरी निकालनी है बेस्ड ऑन 2 क्राइटेरिया, राइट? तो एक क्राइटेरिया को आप रो में डालोगे, एक क्राइटेरिया को आप कॉलम में डालोगे। सेल्स में सी कितने एडवाइजर हैं, उनका सैलरी कितना है, कितने कंसल्टेंट हैं, उनका सैलरी कितना है, कितने रिक्रूटर हैं, उनका सैलरी कितना है, राइट। सो this is what is called in Excel, it is called a pivot table, but the structurally it is similar to what is called a matrix, कि आप बड़े डेटा में से आपने जस्ट एक ब्रीफ जो समरी है वो निकाल ली, एंड वो निकाला है जो आपने, दैट यू हैव डन ग्रुप टुगेदर इनटू यूजिंग टू डिफरेंट क्राइटेरिया। एज सुन एज आई हैव जस्ट वन ग्रुपिंग कि मैं रोज के बेसिस पे करता हूँ, इट बिकम्स अ समरी रिपोर्ट, राइट। समरी रिपोर्ट में आप देखो आपको पूरा डेटा दिखेगा, राइट। लेकिन जैसे ही आप इसको मैट्रिक्स रिपोर्ट बना देते हो, राइट, तो आपका पूरा डेटा अलग से दिखेगा, एंड द मैट्रिक्स विच इज जस्ट रो और कॉलम के बेसिस पे जो डेटा है उसका वैल्यूज अलग से निकाल के दिखा देगा, राइट। So this is the third type of report formatting, which is called the matrix report. Okay. Till now, any issues?
No, sir.
Sorry?
So means
Yeah.
in the survival this side.
Yeah.
So means in the matrix reports, the values that are separated, right? Means
Yes.
as that is the simple definition we can say for a matrix report.
So the values which are being shown to you, right? So
Hmm.
what are these values? You have to take. आप कोई भी एक grouping आप add करते हो. Let's go back to the edit board. Okay. Let me just remove this for now. Let's simplify this. You see here, when I just use one group, मेरा यहाँ पे क्या आता है? सेल्स में कितने हैं? 2, मार्केटिंग में 3, एचआर में 2, आईटी में 1, डेवलपर 1, कंसल्टेंट 1, राइट। ये आईटी डेवलपर कंसल्टेंट अलग से क्यों आया? क्योंकि बेसिकली इनका मैंने कुछ डिपार्टमेंट ऐड नहीं किया है। लेट मी डू वन थिंग, आई थिंक इफ आई रिमूव द डेटा, improve the data, that will actually be better for you, right? Those who don't have department, okay, they have IT developer. Okay, we have 5 departments, is it? Let me reduce the data a bit. Let's keep IT, marketing I have, and let's make him also IT and sub department भी डाल देता हूँ। What other do we have? IT we have. Let's modify this one. This 4 हो गए मेरे, इनको मॉडिफाई करते हैं। Department, where is the department field? They are not added to the page layout. Okay, so I do not add it to the page layout. It's there. So. Oh, these are the full time part time. उनके लिए भी अलग अलग वैल्यूज है क्या? Okay, no. Let's refresh. Run. Right. Now just go through the data. आप जब grouping कर रहे हो, if I don't have any grouping, this is my overall data. Right. यहाँ पे मेरे को हर एक डिटेल रो दिखता है। अब मैं क्या करता हूँ, डिपार्टमेंट पे बेसिस में जब मैं ग्रुप कर रहा हूँ, so what is the purpose of adding a grouping? My only purpose of adding the grouping is, देखो ये जो डिटेल डेटा है ये सब तो मेरे को पहले भी दिख रहा था, मुझे अब अलग से क्या दिखेगा कि डिपार्टमेंट वाइज बेसिकली कितने हैं। सेल्स में 2 हैं, मार्केटिंग में 2 हैं, एचआर में 2 हैं, आईटी में 2 हैं, एंड इस डिपार्टमेंट का न्यूमेरिक सम कितना है, सम ऑफ सैलरी कितना है, ये मेरे को मिल गया, राइट। सो द पर्पस ऑफ एडिंग अ ग्रुपिंग इज टू गेट दीज टू डेटा। ये सेल्स में 2 हैं और दोनों का सम है 24, राइट। आईटी में 2 हैं, उनका भी सम है 24, डेवलपर 1 है, उसका सम है 12, राइट। अब अगर मैं दूसरा ग्रुपिंग डालता हूँ, Now let's add our grouping was role. If I add role, तो अब रोल से मेरा कौन सा डाटा मॉडिफाई हुआ, यू सी। देखो इनिशियल ग्रुपिंग में मेरे को जो दिख रहा था, सेल्स में मेरे दो हैं 24,000 24, मार्केटिंग दो 24, HR दो 24, IT developer one, right? Now the second grouping I had added which breaks down as a column, तो ये अब मेरे को क्या दिखा रहा है कि मेरे ये जो सेल्स के दो हैं वो दोनों कौन से एम्प्लॉय रोल के अंडर फॉल होते हैं। तो नाउ इट्स द सेकंड लेवल चेक आई एम गेटिंग। अब ब्रेक डाउन और ज्यादा हो गया है, राइट? तो मेरा डेवलपर में जो एक है वो कहाँ पे है, वो मेरा पड़ता है ब्लैंक, उसको मैंने कोई रोल नहीं दिया था, राइट? सिमिलरली आईटी में मेरे जो दो हैं वो दोनों कौन से रोल में पड़ते हैं, दोनों एडवाइजर हो गए। एचआर के दोनों रिक्रूटर रोल में, राइट? सो दिस इज हाउ you we have optimized the UI for the data which we want, कि हमको पहले ग्रुप के बेसिस पे ब्रेकडाउन चाहिए जो हमको मिल गया। अब ये जो डेटा है इसका भी मेरे को रोल वाइज भी ब्रेकडाउन चाहिए कि ये दोनों कौन से रोल में, राइट? सो दैट इज द पर्पस ऑफ एडिंग इन दिस वे। व्हाट इफ नाउ you'll ask if I add it here only, right? Now you see what has happened is, right? Now what is it? It is just stage wise, right? तो मेरे को यहाँ पे क्या मिल रहा है, सेल्स के अंदर दो है, मार्केटिंग के अंदर दो है, एचआर के अंदर दो है, बट दिस गिव्स मी दिस ओवरऑल डेटा विच आई डोंट नीड। मैंने आपको क्या बोला था कि इट इज लाइक अ पिवट टेबल, कि पूरा डेटा तो हमारे पास है बट डेटा से अगर हमको कुछ ब्रीफ समरी निकालनी है, राइट? जस्ट आई वांट स्पेसिफिक 2-3 वैल्यू, राइट? कि इन दोनों के वैल्यू पे सम दो मेरे को, या अमाउंट दो मेरे को, क्वांटिटी दो मेरे को, राइट? So that is why we don't use it in this format. What we use it in is this format as a matrix. Okay, got it? Vaibhav, is it clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, good. Now another point. Okay, another point, that is, now when I have added this here, employee role here, right? Is that logically correct also? क्या मेरा employee role department के अंदर पड़ता है? Like, is it something related to the department?